All right. Oh. Oop. Ooh, I keep burning myself. Welcome. I'm really sorry. I'm having a really hard time with my life and my microphone. And yeah, I hope everybody is good tonight. We're bringing in collective energy. I really hope somebody gets in there so then they can tell me if they can hear me, because I hope they can. I'm going to turn the volume all the way up. I don't know if that's the right volume, but we're working with a brand new microphone, so I'm really hoping that everybody can hear me. Loving it. Well, first of all, loving it. Can you tell me if you can hear me okay? Because we finally have the microphone. It is finally working. Okay. I'm hoping that the heart means that you can, yes, in fact, hear me okay. Wow, what an adventure with this microphone. I can hear you too good. Oh, wow. Okay. So is this the kind of microphone that you actually have to turn your volume down because it's working? Wow. Wow. Okay. I can't turn it down. That's just the volume that it is. So it is working. Holy moly. Wow. So I can actually keep my voice nice and monotone, and I can keep the window open now and you won't hear any outside bullshit. Oh, I'm so happy. Best $30 I ever spent. And I shipped this microphone to the wrong place by accident. So, and they held on to it and didn't fucking steal it. And yes, I do believe everybody is in for a good squishing. I mean, what else does ready for a rumble mean? Like, that's what I heard. Spirit is ready to rumble. Like, they are obviously pissed off at some people. So, here we go. We had some interference. Here we go. Jupiter energy again. Jupiter just came out. Jupiter 12th house with Aries. Oh my god, the beginning and the end. With Jupiter right in the middle. Expansion, growth, philosophy of life. Okay, so I think the reason why it's ready to rumble is because it's over. Like something is over with. And all I keep seeing is limitations, and that would be through Saturn energy. And I don't know if somebody really limited your life in a sense where, you feel like you're going to get in trouble still as an adult, right? Like, I mean, you can get in trouble for breaking the law, but I mean, like, you feel like you're always going to get in trouble, like, or you do always get in trouble, and people treat you like you're a child, something like that. And it's now over with. You can now finally like go to the next phase where they've been stopping you basically this whole time. Hello, everybody in the house. What is up with my chest? Weird. Okay. Well, I'm glad it's resonating. Loving it. Hello to everybody in the chat. Hope everybody's having a fantastic evening. It's Friday. It's Friday. I didn't even realize it was Friday. I mean, I realized it was Friday, but I didn't, I don't really care that it's Friday. I do think somebody is, like, they're lying about putting you into really bad energy. And this has to stop. Like, if people have reign over you and laws over you, and they're lying over you, over, like, what's happening with you, honestly, look. Motherfucking twist of events, which is obviously this Jupiter energy. Whoop, 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 whoop. Or I am getting the Pisces energy of the 12th house, right? Aries with that fire. Who's Aries? I think that's going to be the sun. No, that's Leo. Aries ruled by Mars. So you could have purposely started like some type of almost magic or something to set the wrong things right and to set the right things into motion. And then if they weren't going to get out of your way, then it was time that almost like spirit said, well, you know what, if they're not going to get out of your way, if no matter how much you try, these people are going to continue to block you, right? Or set you into this, that you're a child, that you should be treated like a child, that everything around you is childlike, that you've never grown up, and you're the reason for all your faults, and you're the reason for your demise, and you're the reason for everything that's that's happened. Like, as if you're a liar, you lie about everything. Okay, maybe they're calling you the liar, and that all of these things in your life that have happened, which you call accidents, right? They were purposely done to you, and it looked like accidents because you caused them. And I'm almost getting like a blackout rage sometimes, right? Those certain characteristics that your parents give you that come out through you, and then they wonder how you got it, and you're like, okay, well, I watch you every day, that's how I got it. And then those parents that blame everything on TV, or they blame everything on your friends, you pick this up some other place, like, we don't act like that, we don't talk like that, and then boom, half an hour, 45 minutes later, they're back in their groove, and they're acting the same way, and those things are coming out of their mouth the same way as they always do. It's not somebody else's family. It's not, you didn't learn it from somebody else. You learned it from under your own fucking roof, right? And like, I'm pretty sure the age of saying a child would be the age of 3 to, I don't know, 13, 14. Like, 14-year-olds are still kids. They're kids. I mean, it doesn't matter if they hit puberty. They're kids. Their frame of mind is still childlike. They still have imaginations. They still walk across the street sometimes not looking back and forth because they're on their fucking phone. Like, they're still not fully paying attention. They're still somewhat sociopaths. Like, they're not watching out for other people. That's not a child's job to watch out for another kid or for an adult. It's a child's job just to make sure, honestly, that their fucking eyes are open so they can see what's coming. I mean, what we put on to children and how much like stress we put onto them and how much work we put onto them is bullshit, because they shouldn't be run and worked the way that an adult is, right? And this is almost the opposite. Like, maybe you had like a job your whole life too. You started work really young, 12, 13, when you were technically a child, right? And this person still wants to say that you're some little kid when, my God, you've been working for over half your life. How the fuck can you be a kid if that's the case? When I'm sure whoever whoever, mommy and daddy I'm talking about right now, sure as fuck didn't work their whole life. And if they are still working, then they're pointing it out to you because they're so miserable about their own life, and they're trying to advocate that misery equals a satisfactory life. Like, that's the way that you do it. If you're not miserable, then you're not living life properly. You're not working hard enough. You're not working for the man. You're not giving everything up. Like, people have their own, fucked up versions because of whatever the fuck they were taught, right? And they don't know that mommy and dad had it wrong, and their ego is fucking way too big. Even with dead mothers and fathers, I've had arguments with people to say, like, why are you listening to your dead father? Why are you listening to him? Like, this is a new life. This is a new era. You're a new energy. They're dead and gone. Their time has come, and they don't get to say anything anymore. Like, you're here, you're now. And it's like bringing the dead alive, like, you won't even let the dead rest because everything that they said is still coming up in your head. It's like, you got to let the dead ones rest. And especially the things that they said, if they're not aligned with this time anymore. Like, how can you listen to your dead grandmother who died like 20 years ago when she was alive during the war? Like this is not, like, honestly, it's kind of one of those things where we're so past that sure, her philosophy of life could still be correct, but her laws and her rules and her regulations under her head are things of the past, right? So it's really, like, honestly, I really find that we're getting into a time where our minds are passing the ones around us, and our leveling up is leveling up past other people that we used to hang out with, and it's almost alienating us, kind of, in a sense, because we don't have anybody around us anymore. But it's like, would you rather a bunch of narcissistic sociopaths, honestly, around you that think nothing of themselves, and yet how they're going to make it and how they can destroy you? Like, is that what you really want around you? Because I can tell you, if you want really awful people in your life, like, you can find them quick. Like, all you have to do is go to the bar literally tonight, and you can find yourself a bunch of friends that will just want to fuck the world up with you. And then there's that other sense where people are still acting like that's who you are, that you still go out on a Friday night, you act like these fucking trolls, in the chat, that think that life is all about them, and that I'm just going to stop talking because they don't like it, or they're going to say I'm yipping. Oh, stop yelling. Oh, stop talking. How about get to another fucking channel, go bother somebody else, go fucking jump off a bridge, for all I fucking care. Like, I'm not gonna listen to people who don't who are literally, and you know what, if these people were face to face with me, they would never say any of this shit. They wouldn't do anything unless they had an audience, unless they had a couple people with them, which they do. They come in, they storm the chats with their little fucking friends, right? And then they have fun and they laugh with each other. Oh, look at it, we're pissing people off. Like, no, you're really not. At this point in time, I don't see you. I'm not reading it, so I don't care what you're saying. And sometimes YouTube, look, it even shuts them down themselves because they know they're inappropriate messages. Like, I'm never going to throw my game off with a bunch of trolls, a bunch of mosquitoes, a bunch of things that deserve to get smacked. And not smacked, just smacked to go away. Smacked so then it leaves some blood and they fucking have a scar afterwards. So then they can remember who they fucked with that day. So then they can remember, hey, that day I decided to jump and bite somebody, and I really shouldn't have because they turned around, they had a knife in their fucking hand, and I got stabbed. I got bit back hard. But until these entitled little trolls and entitled little people around you, until they learn how to speak properly, until they learn how to be normal society people that conjugate to the right places where they belong, and they don't go bother people, and they don't go throwing bombs in places that they don't deserve to be. You know, like when you're on a different level, like you just go and find people that are on the same level you can have a conversation with. You don't downplay and go and sweep around with the rats, right? You leave them out of it, like, because you just, honestly, the gossiping, the bullshit, the bullies. I mean, because these trolls, they act like bullies. You know, they go from chat to chat to chat, and they try to shut people down, and they make people feel bad about themselves. That people that are on here, you know, like they're showing their face, like they're trying, and here's some asshole going, "Who the fuck are you? Shut up!" And it's like, really, like that's how you're going to treat somebody who's actually trying, who's doing something with themselves, who care about themselves, that maybe want to, like, you know, talk to somebody else, but you want to act like bullies because they're such shallow, low people, right? Who don't have any self-esteem, who want to go and hurt people, and then it makes them feel really good about themselves. And I know my father and my stepmother, when they did things to me, they felt good about it, right? They felt they were smug about it. Like my stepmother, she was always like, "Yeah, I know how to get you, fuck you," and like she'd just be sitting there looking at me like she was gonna fucking break me down that night, and damn would she ever, you know, like she would fucking play into me. Like when I lived there as an adult, I had nightmares every night, and my father and my stepmother were over top of my bed, and they were waving their finger at me all night when I was trying to sleep, as if I didn't deserve to close my eyes for 8 hours and get some rest, right? Like I was a 28-year-old. I just found out I had scoliosis. My boyfriend had just kicked the shit out of me. I was fucking losing all my money to bankruptcy. My car wasn't running properly, and there's my parents. I go there, I seek salvation from the storm. I try to get them to listen to me, to at least provide some fucking health and safety just for a bit so that I can get out of the storm and feel okay again. And she fucking kicks me out one day because my scoliosis was so flared up, and she had gone and she helped this old lady plant these flowers, and she was pissed off, and she's fucking retired, and she yelled at me and she started this fight with me, and then she left crying. She left crying. She was on an ego trip, and I didn't let her ego trip on me. I fucking laid it down that she was being a bully, and she got up and she left, and she threw her little temper tantrum, which is what I'm used to seeing. I'm used to her fucking throwing temper tantrums on a regular basis. Fucking 66-year-old woman can't even fucking keep her head together straight. She's throwing temper tantrums, and my father's running after her with a fucking mimosa behind him because she's saying she can't handle things. Honestly, if she says that she can't handle, somebody around you tells you that they can't handle having a fucking conversation with you, and they lived with you for 30 fucking years, and you've got something to say to them, finally your eyes are open and you're visible finally to the world, and you know that somebody did something to you, and they look at you and say they can't handle it. I'm sorry. Excuse me, what? So you can handle manipulating me, lying, abusing, hitting me, but now that I'm an adult and I'm actually technically taller and bigger than you, I come to you, I say, "Hey, can we have this conversation? I've got no violence in me. I've got no rage, no anger. I just really need some fucking questions answered." And you say you can't handle it? Really? You can't? What can't you handle? Oh, that's right. You can't handle telling your truth, because you decided to act like a fucking piece of shit to somebody who didn't deserve it. And now justice is standing at your door asking you why you did what you did. And you can't give the answer. Why can't you give the answer? Because the answer is going to bury them. But guess what? The answer is already there. Spirit already knows the answer. Whether they say the answer to you or not, it really doesn't matter. And that's what I've realized. I've told my sister this. It doesn't matter what people tell you as of right now, why they did what they did. I know that the answer, their intention to begin with wasn't an accident. Their intention to begin with was a lie, and it twisted and it turned and it fucked your life up. And they're sitting back on their little high horses going, "Ha, I sure fucked with them." Well, guess what? Yeah, you sure fucked with them, but your time is up, my friend, and now you get fucked with. Because that's the universe. And if it didn't go that way, trust me, honey, we wouldn't have storms. We wouldn't have trolls. Okay, we wouldn't have bad people and good people if it wasn't like this. Like, for once, I don't even think I have a fucking moderator working. And look at, eventually, if you don't pay attention to these skeevy ass little motherfuckers that are trying to come in just to cause hostile energy, they go away. And that's the biggest thing that, like, they teach you in school with bullies. The moment that you stop paying attention to them and you ignore them, they don't have any fun anymore. It's no fun, right? Because why would it be any fun when you don't have an audience to jerk off to? No one would go live on YouTube if there was no viewers. Nobody would have an OnlyFans account if there was nobody watching. Like, if there wasn't good people willing to pay and bad people willing to destroy, we wouldn't be where we are. Thank you. I wasn't saying that somebody had to remove people. I'm really sorry. Thank you. Oh, One Bird's here. Hey, buddy. I didn't know you were in the chat, man. We were really getting hit, so I just, like, really was just trying to stay away from the chat. Sorry, for anybody who is talking in the chat that really actually wants to talk, my apologies. When I'm in a channel, I can't read the chat, and when we're getting hit with trolls, I don't really fucking care to read the chat. So anybody that's in there, obviously One Bird, I didn't see you. I think Loving It's still there, honestly. Thank you so much to anybody that works against these idiots in the chat. I really appreciate it, honestly, from the bottom of my heart. Because they just try so hard to just intercept the message, and they're never going to be able to. That's the thing. Like, if this was 5-6 years ago, then yeah, you might be able to throw me off my path and throw me off the message and throw me off the channel, so then the right one doesn't really come out. But now that, like, I know how they attack, and I know what they do, and I know how their stupid little fucking questions, I know why they ask them to get me thrown off, so then I can start talking to them, and then I don't channel the message at all. And you know who picks up on that shit the most? Irene. Irene will always notice if somebody takes my attention in the chat, she knows they're a troll, because she knows that there's something that I'm about to say that now this person has distracted me from. And it's really hard for me to see that, because I want to just believe that people are genuinely interested in what I'm doing, but for the most part, it's like a fucking 70-30. Like, for the most part, people are not interested. 70% of them are really trying to throw it off. And then there's that little 30% that really want to listen. But isn't that like any concert, any venue, any fucking anywhere that you go? Like there's so many people that don't want to be there. They're only there because they're being forced to be there. They're being forced to watch, or they're going to try to fuck shit up, and they want to make everybody else's event as miserable as their own heart, mind, lives, etc., etc. Okay, and you know what's really weird is, as I've been talking about this, there is the squirrel sitting and staring at me at this tree, and he peeked his little head around when he heard my voice, and now he is just sitting there. He is not eating anything. He is not cleaning himself. He's just sitting there. And he's been sitting there for, like, I don't know, maybe about 10 minutes now. Oh, he just lifted his little paw. Oh my God, he is so cute. But let me tell you, these motherfuckers live above me in my house, and they are not so cute at 3 a.m. when they're running around chasing each other, and they're nuts. Okay, they drive me crazy. But he looks like he's so cute. He looks like a little bear just sitting there. Oh my God, there's one black squirrel that doesn't have a tail, and he runs around. Oh my God. He's like, I can't even describe it. He's like a little black bear just running around the property with no tail. Oh my God, he's so cute. They make me cry because they're so cute. But then they annoy me so much that I want to cry as well, because it's 3 a.m. and now I'm awake and I'm listening to them play with each other. So anyways, I don't know if you've got black squirrels around you or something like that, but look at, oh my God, witness. I think he's witnessing this fucking reading because he's listening. I know he's listening. He can hear my voice. My voice travels, obviously. My voice travels like a motherfucker. I don't even try to make it travel, and it just does. And then look at, there's one for the nation. Ooh, I really like this. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Whatever this was about, you were poisoned, or you were a part of a poisoning, or you were ingesting it and it was making you sick. You know, like something that somebody was doing and putting you a part of was very hurtful and very disguisable and very fucked. Okay, I'm not going to say that this is a good energy, because it is most certainly not a good energy. This is a very hostile energy, and that's why justice is here, because it's like, if you don't finally see the scales in something, and like, I never know how this plays out. I don't know if this plays out in 3D, if this plays out in another dimension, if some of the collective is going to die so then they get into a better place. I don't know. Like, I watched this thing in this movie the other day, and this lady says, her daddy, it was like this Southern movie, and she was like, my daddy taught me that death isn't the end, that it's just the beginning, that life is what prepares you for death. And I was like, damn, that's deep. Because like, that's kind of how I feel. Like, I feel like this is something. Oh man, when I was driving yesterday, it was raining and the sun was like going through a tree, so it was like flashing at me from the side, and I swear I felt like I was in a simulation. It was fucked. It was like I was playing a fucking video game and I was in the sim, you know, and I've never, the amount of times that has happened to me is like very slim to none, okay? Like, I can see a sim sometimes, but not very much. Like, I'm very much 3D. I don't want to see a simulation. I don't want to believe it's a simulation, but at the same time, I'm like, what the fuck is this? Like, what is this? Like, is this the Truman Show? Is somebody gonna come like open up the door in the sky and start laughing at all of us? You know, like, honestly, sometimes I wonder, and that's where I have to kind of stop my mind, because I feel like once I start going down that path, it's a very sticky situation, because that's where I feel like some of the collective can fall off the track and go crazy. Because if you start going down that of like how fucked up things are, you won't come back. And that's where it's like, you gotta go to the psych ward, you gotta start getting some pills, you gotta get a therapist up in this bitch. Yeah, you gotta prepare for the worst to get yourself out of that. So it's always like, you know, whatever this is about, and what these people did to put you in a sim in some dimension where you're a child. Like, you're a child, you're like a fucking 11 or 10-year-old, and they're just taking everything from you, you know, like, they're making you work. Like, you're working in the fields and you're working for pennies a day, while in real life you're going to work, or you're at home and imprisoned, and it's the same thing. It's like they're using you. I mean, it always comes down to what I'm like a judge, okay? I'm like a jury. Like, what's the motive? I need to figure out the motive, because once I figure out the motive, I can figure out who it is, because there's deep motive and then there's childish motive. So deep motive would come from somebody you love, somebody that's in your blood, somebody that like fucking raised you, fucking fucked you for 20 years, somebody who is in your skin, it's in your blood. And then, you know, there's the other category where it's like, you know, those people are kind of just like, yeah, you know, like, you like them, you love them, but you don't really need them around. They'll fuck you over. So it's like, there are two categories of people, and like, once you figure it out of like who you're working with, then you can realize, okay, who's deeply trying to hurt me, and who's like, you know, hurting me, but it's not like that bad. It's not deep wounds. It's not gonna like go to my childhood, and it's not gonna like fuck with me forever, right? You got to figure out the motive. It all comes down to motive, and they'll tell you that in court. You want to go and sue somebody, you want to go down a path where you feel like somebody did something, you better damn well know what that motive is, because if you don't, case dismissed. And case fucking dismissed. And it's a brutal fucking system out there, and it is just as brutal in those courts. It is just as brutal in life. Like, people, they ain't waiting for you to present anything. They're already walking and going, if you don't got a case, we gotta go because there's somebody else. Like, and it really sucks. But one thing that I have realized is, one thing that you do have to tell yourself and your children, if you have them, is that this world is not meant for them. This world was not meant for you. This world was not meant for a lot of people. And in saying that, the reason why I say that is because we are overpopulated. That most of us were not supposed to be here. Most of us are in bloodlines that were supposed to be shut down a very long time ago, right? And then there's other of us that were born into very toxic relationships because the relationship wanted to die and mommy wanted to spark it back, right? There are a lot of us that there are no jobs for us. There is no place for us to live. We reach a minority level where they want us living in public housing. They want us on the streets. They want us addicted to very awful substances. They want us alcoholics. They want us beating our own young so then we fuck them up so then they can fuck their kids up so then they don't want the good jobs. Like, there are only a number jobs out there. There are only numbered careers out there, and that's what is kind of fucked up about school. Is go to school. Is there even any openings in that field? Right? Is it a growing field? Yeah, they say it's a growing field, but where do you have to grow to get the fucking money? Where do you have to suddenly go sow your seeds because all around you ain't nobody hiring that? Like, so one thing that I've noticed that I really have to stay on my toes is that this world was not meant for me. It was not built for me. Therefore, I have to do what I need to do to bust my ass to make a place, because there was no place for me and I wasn't supposed to be here. So there isn't a job opening. There wasn't a career opening. I was supposed to be working at this hospital from 25 to 65 and I was going to retire because I was going to be Dr. Whitney. Like, no, there was no doctorate position for me because I wasn't supposed to be here. I'm that minority group that was like, man, my parents, and the second I came out, right, as per usual, there goes the relationship, right? You hold on to it for my sister, you think you can handle it, and then you go and have the second kid because you don't really know what else is going to happen to the relationship, and then you fuck the relationship up. And you know what I've also realized is that 90% of the relationships that get fucked up because of kids. All of a sudden they can't fucking flip the bill for the kid anymore, or mom doesn't want to go to work because she's fucking fat, lazy, and fucking, realize that there was a remote control and soap operas to watch, so give me another kid because I want to sit on the couch and fucking gain 300 pounds and, then hate my husband and then go cheat on him. And then when he's not good enough and he's not fucking laying shit down for me anymore, then I'm going to go cheat on him. It's so many scapegoats. Like, people have just made an excuse and been like, well, I don't got to be here, and walked away. And then there's the people who honestly from day one have never had a spot. We don't get that, oh, well, I can just drop this one, another one will just poof appear in my life. Like, we have to have the jobs that fucking kick our ass because there's no other jobs. We have to have the friends that don't want anybody else, that technically abuse us because there is nobody else that wants to like us. We get the partners that are basically handicapped because all the good ones were taken because we're too used up and abused, and the good ones don't want to look at us because it looks like we need more support than really what we do. But actually, the entitled ones are the ones that need the support, not the ones that have been trucking on the streets for fucking 25 years. We're not the ones that need all the support. We're just the ones that need to know that we're wanted and we'll bust our fucking ass. The entitled ones are the ones that sit around, collect the check, fucking make the dude feel awful, make the woman feel awful while they're jacking it to fucking soap operas all day, and their fucking kids hate their lives and treat all their friends like shit. And now one of them is already decapitating animals because they watch really awful shows on their fucking phone because mommy and daddy doesn't pay attention to them. Like, and that's what you're being compared to? Are you kidding me? Like, I sometimes, when I serve and I work, I'll get like no tips, 5%. So I go to this restaurant. I don't really dine out in restaurants very much. I go, tell me how I didn't go to this place where I used to work for like 7 years, okay? Fucking Southern hospitality was our way. If we weren't at that fucking table, like at least every 5 minutes checking on you, making sure you were okay, you were fired. You were asked to fucking leave. That is not the way that you serve around here. Tell me how 15 years later after I leave that place, I go up there, this bitch doesn't even know the fucking menu. I know my shit. I've been bartending and serving for 20 fucking years. I don't work anywhere unless I know that goddamn menu. Are you fucking kidding? And you want me to tip this bitch 15, 20%? And she hasn't even checked if my food tastes good. And I get fired from places. And you know what I noticed today? I made like, I don't know, sometimes I make really good fucking money off of like nothing. And this one day I had like, I don't know, $500 sales. I made, I don't know, 30, 40% tips that day. And it's like when you know what you're doing in this life and you fucking make a go of it and you give it your best, I don't care if it's serving, I don't care if it's plumbing, I don't care if you're working at fucking Dunkin' Donuts. When you make it your job because that's what it is and that's how you make your money and that's what life is to you, fucking hustling, it's so much better. When you check out, you hate the place and everybody you work with and your fucking life and everything around you, then yeah. I mean, I would imagine every day is going to be pretty fucking hard, right? Like, so I don't know, like, what society did to you or like what these people did to you, but I would imagine that your life has like not been easy. And then when you tried to get it easy for like maybe just a second, because you deserve to have it easy for a moment, they take it away from you. Right? Because now suddenly you're lying. And you know what I've noticed is in any situation, like any restaurant I've ever worked, any bar I've ever worked, somehow I get labeled like a thief, a gossiper. People are just straight up walking around calling me a bruja now, which that's fine, whatever. Like, it's not a bad word, but like, really, I don't need a bunch of fucking Sri Lankans calling me a bruja behind my back, because to them, I don't know what a fucking bruja is in their country. Jesus fuck. Okay, I don't even want to know what kind of fucking witchcraft they deal with over there, considering they're all rich, bringing themselves over here and fucking with our shit. So I don't know how the fuck that happened, but okay, witchcraft was involved for sure. Okay, and it's like, I just don't understand why people, they gotta label things, and they gotta label you, and they gotta label the situation, and they gotta label themselves, and because that kind of labeling fucks with people. It fucks with everything. Oh, I don't have a Mrs. behind my name, so I guess people are gonna think less of me, or I didn't get to go to school, so obviously I'm a fucking retard in your mind. Like, do you know how many people have judged me because like I barely graduated high school? Like, why do I deserve to be judged on that? Like, I had a fucking mental capacity of like a fucking schizophrenic psychopath at the age of like 15. I can't even believe I kept it together. I am so fucking proud of myself for how I even graduated all alone, molested, fucking constantly traumatized, fucking living a life of like pure schizophrenia, just trying to make it to school and like keep my ass together. And here I am being judged by some fucking lowlife because you went to college. You went to university? Congratulations. Who the fuck paid for that? Because I'm telling you, if I had to pay for university, bitch, I'd be on the streets. I would not even have a career because I wouldn't have fucking made it. Tell me that I should have some education. What the fuck are you talking about? Back in the day, we didn't even go to school. You know what school was? Sitting around with our elders. Okay? We didn't go get taught by some fucking geriatric fuck. Okay, who's trying to teach us some fucking merry little way that we're never going to use in the real life. That shit, half of this shit that you fucking know, you are never going to use. It should just go one ear and out the other. Like, why the fuck do you need to know 3/4 of that math? You don't. Do you need to know basic? Absolutely, I agree with that. But like, after grade 6, I say just cut the rope. You don't need anything past grade 6, okay? You really don't. Unless you want to go to university and you want to go somewhere and you want to do something with yourself, then yeah, go through it. But honestly, by grade 6, I'd be pulling my kid out, being like, all right, you don't need to know anything. Like, now we need to learn street smarts. Now we need to learn how you fucking drive properly. Now you need to learn how to deal with a psychopath. Now you need to learn what happens if a guy comes up to you with a gun. Now you have to learn if fucking we all run out of food, you need to learn how to hunt, bitch. You need to learn how to grow some fucking food. You need to learn how to collect water. You need to learn how to wash your clothes properly. You need to learn how to live with the world without electricity. Do you know how many things you could teach your kid if they got to stay home after grade 6? And do you know how much I would have learned? But to be honest, though, there are those kids that have to go to school because their parents are pedophiles and because their parents are abusive pricks. And if we don't get to go to school, we have to stay at home. So there is that kind of like, I do feel for those kids that if they didn't have school, they would be fucked. And like, because I'm a part of those kids, I'm like, honestly, my school, I was safe for 8 hours of the day. And that's all I care about. Like, I couldn't fucking care less about my entire day because once at night that my parents usually drank, so I was okay, right? They didn't get home until like 5 or 6, so then they just wanted to drink right away, and like I could go right and hide, and then I was in bed by 9, right? So like the nighttime was okay. It was dealing with my parents all day. Like, no, I would never have wanted to be at home. They would have told me to go outside. They would have fucking beat my ass. They would have not fed me. They would have pulled out all the stunts that they did on the weekends just all through the week, right? And like, honestly, my whole family is alcoholics. Like, all they do is drink. They drink from 5 o'clock on every day, all day, and they call themselves fucking great people. They call themselves fucking scholars. They say they didn't do anything wrong. Like, how do you feel like by not fixing your life and by drinking it away every day that you're doing something really well with your life and to keep your chin up? Like, what the fuck? Like, my parents have ruined my life. They've ruined their own lives to the point where, honestly, when you see somebody go down such a bad road, but they've already pulled you down and you've already suffered to it, when you watch them go down the bad road, you're like, you fucking deserve it. Like, and I love redemption. I like when you don't have to do it. You just get to watch it happen. And now, thankfully, because of social media and everybody's so fucking prone to wanting to get attention, you can just watch their shit go down right in front of you on the screen and you don't even have to pay for it. You don't even have to pay that Prime membership or that Netflix membership because you're just watching social media platforms just go right down. And then you know what was the best is actually my cousin went out of her way. She kicked me out of the house. She fucking stole my job from me. She fucking ruined my name to the family. She had multiple people stop talking to me. She turned my work against me, and like I got fired because of it. And then she married this guy, and she fucking, I told her not to. I told her that he was a fucking scumbag. I didn't even say that he hit on me. I didn't even say what he did to me. I didn't say anything. She fucking kicked me out of the house, stopped talking to me. She decided to get married. She decided to have a kid. Miserable fucking relationship, by the way. Because she tracked it on Facebook the entire time, every single time her fucking husband pissed her off or fucking did something, until finally, can anybody help me move this weekend? My son and I have to find a new place to live. Oh yeah, that's right, because that fucking asshole finally kicked you out. Or did you realize that he was an asshole, he was never going to change, and now you've left after 7 years and a kid, and you thought you were going to change him? Honestly, if women just hired their fucking standards, okay, and their confidence, they wouldn't get with a dude and say, I'll make him better. The fuck are you talking about? Okay, you ain't gonna make no man better. Okay, a man will get better on his own or already be a man. Little boys don't grow because they get a second mommy called their wife. Okay, like, I mean, I hate to tell you this. I mean, I'm sure this is not news to anybody in my chat, but it's news to somebody. Okay, it's news to somebody, and whoever it's news for, all we're going to say is a lack of information is not being dumb, is not worthy of being called dumb. It is just a lack of information. Sometimes we do things, we don't really know what we're doing. Or we're wrapped up in trauma from the past and we don't know what we're doing. I mean, it's so many things happen and so many people have to bear witness to things, and they have to, honestly, I don't know what this world is about. I don't know if this world is honestly all about being a witness. Because, like, why else would we have eyes? You know, like, why else would we have, like, cameras and video recorders and stuff if it wasn't about witnessing what people were truly doing? And, like, some of these restaurants that I go into and these shady owners, I swear, I'm a fucking video camera to them. And my eyes are coming in and it's watching everything these people are doing. And, like, I'm not some narc. I'm not going to call the cops and be like, hey, they're working their workers overtime and they're not paying them. Like, I'm not the IRS, okay? I'm not gonna go fucking, okay? But at the same time, I'm like, you're here, we have rules, you choose to break those rules. I'm not a narc, I ain't gonna say anything, but my eyes just watched you do it. And my ears just heard what you said. So I'm gonna leave that with you. I'm gonna head over here, and I just want you to know, this is all recording. And then these stupid business owners, they have cameras going in these places. So it's like, you're even recording yourself, like, breaking the law all day. Like, how dumb are you? But you come from a foreign country, so I guess you're not the fucking brightest, because here, we wouldn't put a bunch of video cameras around where we were breaking the law. It's called, we put soldiers out and use their eyes, not a video recorder. Okay? There's being smart and being dumb. And I think this person, people, have done shit dumb. And they turned on their video recorders and they recorded themselves. breaking the law, trying to get you to break the law. Like, how ironic is that? Like, this person just fell from the irony tree because they're going to learn irony really fucking quick. Like, I wish I had an irony card because I guarantee you it would come out. And isn't it ironic? Don't you think? It's like Jupiter. Like, honestly, philosophy of life. Like, this was a very fucking amazing reading. Like, I really did not. I never know what the channel is going to be about. I never know what is going to be said and what we talk about. And like this, I feel like this reading today is very important. Like, because, I mean, I was really busy all day and I'm really just lost my fucking patience with something and I still have to do it and I'm really like, ugh. But I'm pushing myself anyways because I need to do this, and so I'm kind of forcing myself, and so I really wasn't going to go live, and then I thought, well, honestly, man, I recorded videos last night once I got home, and I could only put one up because honestly, there was so much attacking that members reading that I did yesterday. It was attacking it over and over and over again, these massive viruses being downloaded into my phone until finally I was like, you know what? I'm going to upload the other video. So I uploaded the Libra video. It went right up, of course. I don't know why. And by that time, it was like 10:30. So I couldn't upload the second video again to try and do this again. All I wanted to do was just close my eyes and try to sleep. So I was like, fuck it, I'll do it in the morning. So that's why I uploaded it this morning from last night. And I thought, honestly, the energy that comes through YouTube at night, because of the amount of trolls that are out right now and the amount of people that are streaming, the energy is so bad. Like, I never suggest uploading videos at this time of night on YouTube. Like, I don't even like personally being live at this time because of how much we get hit when we're doing this right at night like this. But at the same time, I'm like, fuck it. I'm not just gonna not go live because I feel like a bunch of little fucking biddies are gonna come into my chat and fuck shit up. I really don't care. I'm not looking at the chat, so I don't care. Getting them out of the chat is more or less for you guys, but I don't really read it anymore because I can't. Honestly, anybody that has anything to say that you feel like you really like want me to read, just email me because I have to kind of like keep my focus off of it, because if I get drawn into the chat, I'm going to realize that somebody's writing something or doing something that I do not like, and then it cuts the channel. So I've just learned not to read it. And that's the thing, when you know that something hurts you or something's haunting you or something's doing something to you, you cut that shit out because you respect and you love yourself, right? You don't continue to sustain abuse or abusive behavior if you really love yourself and respect yourself. But like, respect lies with you. Respect is all about, people will respect you and people will give you boundaries once you set them. And if people walk away and they call you crazy, they call you a bitch, just watch and wait until they come back and go, hey, I'm kind of sorry about that. Like, are we cool? Yeah, we're cool. Just learn how to fucking make some boundaries and stop building bridges with everybody, because those bridges people can just cross. And what if you don't want them on your property, right? Just like doors in your mind, man. Make sure that every now and then you go into your mind's eye and you close some doors, right? So you're not just leaving things open for people to just come waltzing in and just say whatever they want, do whatever they want, fuck around with your shit, dive into your imagination, dive into your mind, try to get something out of you, right? Because it's all about, I feel like suddenly these haters, they want a reaction from you, like they have been orchestrating this attack for so long and it hasn't come to fruition, like they haven't, no one has actually seen fully what they're talking about because they're so full of shit. I mean, they're liars, right? They're acting like all these things that happen to you that they've lined up karmically to happen to you because they don't like you are your accidents that you caused yourself because of your energy. And I'm thinking, no. I'm thinking, if you're watching this and you're trying, then I would highly doubt that you wouldn't put yourself into an energy where you would suffer, right? You would only do that if you had to build a biased opinion on something. Then, unfortunately, we have to get hurt, right? Because we need to feel what it's like to go through that, so then we can judge that in the end, and we can judge the people who do it, right? Because a lot of things, you ever realize, if you judge somebody, you know, who cuts you off in traffic, or suddenly, you know, people are doing something and you're like, fucking fuck, like, you know, these people are acting like this and acting like that and treating me like this, and, you know, but then, no way, wow. Then you have to make sure that you show the world, you know, when you come back into that equation and suddenly now you're the one that you always judge, you better hope that you are making the right decision, like you expect these people around you to do. So if you expect people to drive, you know, a certain length away from each other, you expect people to signal and open up the doors for everybody and let your ass in, then I sure as fuck hope that you're following in a certain direction, and that you're, you know, like, if you want to say it and you want to put it out there and you want to judge people for it, then I sure as hope, you know, I just hope that you're doing the right thing in those situations as well, because that's what spirit will get you. You know, you fuck around, you do shit, you know, then spirit's gonna be like, hey, hello, didn't you just judge somebody for doing that and now you're doing it? You know, like the ascension and the leveling up comes from when you are talking everything that you are walking. That your talk is no different than your speech. And then at that point in time, you're so clairvoyant that spirit knows you, because everything you're thinking is everything you're saying, and everything that you're saying is everything that you're walking. It's everything you're creating. So there's no loophole to say that you're a liar when you're following everything, from the sounds of it, by the book. Right? But it's those little tiny technicalities that people who, like your parents, or, you know, this relationship holds bond. Okay, so I don't know if this person had a contract with you, or if this person, like, it's the beginning and the end. Okay, so this was all the in between. This is all, everything that we talked about was everything that went on in between. So this honestly could be a fucking 40-year cycle wrapped up. Boom. Like, I don't really feel like this is some little tiny, you know, 12-month cycle. Like, this is like years in the making. This is something that, you know, for one, should have been casted out well over 30 years ago. Is still, you know, I think bubbling now. You know, I think in the cauldron, people's lives are still brewing, and it all comes down to timing, and it comes down to when the storm hits. Because it's going to be different for everybody. It's the timing. I mean, even finding this video, if this video stays on YouTube, then people could watch it, you know, 5 years from now. There are readings that my readers that I've watched for years come up, and for one, this lady, one of her readings from 3 years ago popped up, and I went, I think I gotta watch that, and I did, and it made a lot of sense with what was happening now. So I mean, trust your tarot readers, if you like them, you know, like, trust their timing and when they say something, and always trust your intuition, and the ones that you really, the readers that you really want to work with, and the people that you really want to learn off of and be a part of. Trust your gut with that, right? Like, if somebody really turns you off, but you're like, well, I want to learn something about them, like, I don't know why I feel this way. You don't feel like, you will feel a certain way if your body is rejecting the idea. They don't want to speak to that person. There's nothing that person can teach you that you don't already know, or that you don't want to know, right? And then there's the teachers and the hierophants that come into your life that naturally teach you things that you learn, that you're like, okay, I can respect this person because what they're saying is how I vibe as well, right? Because that's what it is like, you have to learn how you feel about things. Like, when my anxiety hits, something's wrong, right? And I address it. And if my stomach is off, I try to figure out why. If I'm suddenly lethargic, is somebody feeding off my energy, right? Like, always trying to figure out what's going on with you keeps you involved in your own life. And I think that a lot of us need to get more involved with our own lives and less involved with other people's, because what other people do is not a reflection of you, and you should not really care about what anybody else is doing unless it's unless you're really vibing with them. And even still, keep your boundaries. Try not to watch anybody's life too much or listen to anybody too much, because then you could be incorporating things that this person's saying and you don't really agree with, but because they say it so much, you're now brainwashed into thinking it. So, again, like I always try to say, like, I just want the collective to just feel the freeness of everything that I say, and that it is just an analogy, and the analogy has to come out for the message to be deciphered. And it doesn't have to be exactly like how I say it. It can actually be very different, but in the same category, right? That's why I always write, use your discernment, because your discernment is what helps you put the pieces of the puzzle together if there's a jigsaw to be found, or to be, figured out, sought, and conquered, right? And I just started hearing that song, I Think I'm Turning Japanese. Do you remember that song, I Think I'm Turning Japanese? And he just repeats it over and over and over again. I think that is for collective, where it's like you're turning, like, and I think you're turning into an adult. I think you're turning, like, you're shifting now into like major energy. Like, I don't think Jupiter would come in, with all that Sagittarius energy of like completely changing the philosophy of your life and completely changing your purpose, almost your optimism, everything, your individuality, to become who you are, to have your own sense. And that's what people will find so attractive about you moving forward, is your philosophy of life, is the things that you believe in, is how you present yourself. Then people will know that you're not full of shit, because everything you say, you're like, do I even have to say it? No. And that's awesome. When you don't even have to say who you are, people just get it. You're really in your element. You're really in your energy, because energy is very quiet. If you've noticed, your soul is very quiet. Connections around you, your animals, all very quiet, because they're not voices that need to yell. If they're voices that need to yell, what are they yelling about? What are they yelling over? That's what I always try to say, because I have such a strong voice, and I always ask myself, like, what am I yelling over? Because if I'm yelling, if I'm just trying to talk, but it's so loud, then I feel like I'm, because I'm schizophrenic, so I can always hear, a channel going on in my head with, if there's something around that doesn't like me and it wants to start to fuck with me, then I will hear that voice, but I still have my own voice. So then I feel like I talk over the voice that's trying to talk over my voice, and it comes out really loud. And I was actually, this old lady touched me today. Okay, and it wasn't even like a touch to touch, it was like through something, and her energy was so like grounded and light, and just, she was older, and she handed me something, and it looked kind of aggressive, because she kind of went quickly, but then when she placed it in my hand, it was like placing like a Kleenex in my hand, and it was so gentle, and it was a plate. It was so gentle, and I was like, oh my gosh, I really hope that lady just helped transfer me an energy transfer, right? Where she's got, like, she was, I would say, early 70s, and so she's starting to figure out that now she's on her way out, right? So she's got, hopefully 20 years, right, to do her mission work, so then she can leave and she can go where she needs to go. And I swear she did an energy transfer with me, because I am as aggressive as I am because of how manipulated, mutated, and fucked up I was. So I have to act like I'm a pit bull. I have to act like a bear. I have to act a little bit more than just feminine, because I'm in that position. I don't have any other position. So now I'm trying to figure out how I can be this like soft individual, and that when the bear has to come out, or when that pit bull has to come out of me and I have to do something, I have to defend myself, or someone's fucking with me, or I gotta go fucking deal with something because I don't have anybody else to deal with my shit, and I don't have no man beside me, who's got my back. So I have to, and then honestly, because I'm half demonic, I growl. And I growled for most of my life, and now I realize that that's the demon inside of me will growl. And when I growl, you have to get the fuck away from me, because that's a warning. As a dog growls, that's a fucking warning, and you better back up and you better walk away, because whatever it is that you're fucking doing, I feel like I'm getting backed into a corner, right? And you can't push somebody in the back of a corner unless you either expect to get bit, or you think that this animal is just going to allow you to submit it, right? Animals don't just submit, okay, unless they're beaten, unless they're tortured, okay, unless they've got an owner that does not want them to have their own personality at all, their own energy, then they will remove it from the animal altogether, right? Thus, pushing it up against the wall and telling it has nowhere to go, and it either better bend over and do what you say, or it's out the door. And a lot of us know that energy as being our parents. You better do what we tell you, or there's the street. There's your friend's door. You better call your mother if you don't like it. And honestly, that kind of mentality that comes out of a parent that puts that type of stress onto a child does not deserve to be a parent. Because the parent already is in a higher position. Okay, they already know much more than that child, and if that child doesn't understand something and wants to run away, thus hurting itself to get away from an energy to prove a point, it's already smarter than the parent. It already knows it's being fucked over, and it would rather go die on the streets than live to see why daddy or mommy thinks that they should be punished. Right? A lot of children, just like animals, they realize that they are smarter than their owners, smarter than their parents, smarter than their captors, right? Because if their captors were such great people, then they most likely wouldn't have stolen something, reproduced something, or kidnapped something, right? They would have manifested it themselves, or they wouldn't have manifested it at all, because they would know the damage that they would do, right? You have to be very careful, what you do, and you have to be very careful, to make sure that you're doing what you can. And I don't think anybody's doing that to their kids. I think that this was everything that was being done to us. I don't think that this is something that you did to your kids. I think that this is speaking from like a third point of view, where this isn't us who did this. This is what we're being judged on. This is what we now have to go through as like adults, right? And it's kind of sad, and it's like, I wouldn't have this channel if it wasn't so messed up, in a sense where, like, I hope that people get the answers that they need and they get the support that they need, because the way that it's going down now, it ain't looking very good. I think I'm gonna shut this down. I am so exhausted. Okay, it's not even funny. But thanks for everybody being in the chat. Thank you for this reading. Honestly, this was a very intense reading, to say the least. I don't know if intense was the right word, but it was a reading, that's for sure. So, I just want to say, like, sorry for whoever's like going through this, and like whoever has to face, the music of knowing that they were put into something from start to finish that really didn't have anything to do with them. And if you're looking for a personal reading, whitneymoonshine@gmail.com. Okay, we can always work on your reading. And even if you're lost with work, anything, we can always talk about that. So thank you to everybody, who's watching. And thank you to my moderators who kicked ass. Thank you, Wenbird. Thank you, Loving It. Thank you to all the new ones that are here enjoying, this channel, and I hope you find what you need, what you're looking for. And if you don't, then, thanks for stopping by. And I hope you do find a reader that you really like, and, that benefits you, because when you're out here and you're trying to find answers, it's really nice to know that there's a handy channeling medium that can help you. Always a good time, always. So I hope the sound quality was good, all right, throughout the reading. I'm going to replay this, and hopefully there's no crackling. I apologize for all the readings that have crackling for when we go live. I just don't understand why my phone can't record it properly. So, yeah, I'm going to go. And, oh, thank you. Thank you. It's been a long day, so I'm glad you enjoy my energy. Yeah, thank you to everybody, and Spirit is ready to rumble. Boy, are they ever, okay? So, much love, collective. Peace out. Goodbye.